Are we in? We're in. Good morning, Borada, and Happy New Year to you. I can see from Brenna, Blwyddyn Newydd Dda. Happy New Year, and funny New Year, but it's a new year nevertheless. So we're going to make the most of it. Now, I know we started these classes off on Zoom, while I've got all my family home, all of them using the internet, we're going to stick to the YouTube classes because it's safer internet-wise. We might not get interrupted and have less disruption via YouTube. So we're going to stick with this format just until I can and back into school. So I hope you're feeling well. I hope Christmas was quiet but good for everyone. And well, it's a new year. It was a beautiful blue sky, but it's raining here now. So let's not even talk about the weather. But what are we going to need for this session? So this is the session that, for those of you who've not done it before, I used to teach this in St. Mary's Hall in Cardigan. It used to be known as falls prevention, okay, but I felt it was quite a negative connotation, okay. It's about promoting strength and balance. So we do a mixture of seated and a mixture of standing. The warm-up we always do seated because it's a nice way of just kicking into it. We tend to stand up, we do some balance, a little bit of aerobic work, but mostly focused on balance. Some of it static, some of it dynamic, which means moving. And then we move into strength and flexibility. And we do half of that standing, half of that seated. So let's move on. So the chair, ideally, is going to have no arms. And when you're sitting in it, we want to make sure that your hips aren't lower than your knees. So if you do find that your knees are here and your hips are lower, it's going to put a bit of pressure here. So try and find something that's a bit taller. Obviously, the lower the chair, the more challenging it will be for things like sit to stand, because you're going to have to power up a bit more. So sometimes you might find that as you get stronger, you can graduate to a lower chair, but your hips want to be level with or slightly above the knees. We've got resistance bands in this workout. Don't worry if you haven't got them, because I'm also going to bring in a set of tins. Okay, so lightweight tins, and this is just for our strength. We do have a consignment of resistance bands. They haven't arrived yet. I can only assume there's some delay. They're probably coming from Europe, but we have got some of these arriving. So if you need one, please let me know and I will get one shipped to you as soon as it arrives. So we've got the tins, we've got the bands. I'm not using them yet. Let's think about warming up. And may I say how lovely it was to see Norma's daughter, Deb, at Aldi yesterday. We parked next to each other for our click and collect. Didn't recognise you because you had your mask on and you must have recognised my voice. So I was very pleased with my order. I can recommend it, although this isn't a venue for advertising. Now, let's think about sitting down for our warm-up. So when we sit down, we want to make sure, okay, that we're sitting in a working position. So we tend to sit down in a chair, you know, it could be like this. And we're really going to use it. It's like being in the gym. It's like being on a gym machine, okay? So what we're going to do first of all is sit up nice and tall. Create some space between the base of the ribs and the top of the pelvis. And then we're going to lift one sitting bone at a time, and we're going to move forwards so that we're in that front half of the chair. Sometimes they talk about the front third. I always feel a bit unstable if I'm in the front third. But even if you want to go back a bit, you just want a little gap between your back and the chair. Now, this isn't to say that you can't relax back and rest every now and again. But what we're doing by using this working position is getting these core muscles that support the spine, the hips, the shoulders really active. So when you're out doing your day-to-day stuff, they'll be stronger. And then we're going to think about these feet. So we want these feet just underneath the knees, about hip width apart, so you can feel the balls of the feet. You can feel your heels on the floor. So see if you can find that working position. I'm going to turn around and face you, because that, well, is the sensible thing to do when you're teaching a class. Right then. So we're in our working position. Now, what we're going to do first of all is we're going to think about that space between the base of the ribs and the top of the pelvis. So we're going to sit up nice and tall. Then we're going to think about these shoulders because we tend to tense up when we're sitting tall. So see if you can just slide the shoulders away from the ears, look straight ahead so there's no tension in the neck. If you find that your implement for watching is sort of too far down or too far up is the big one, then you might find you need to adjust it in the future just so you can look straight ahead or slightly down. Now we're going to squeeze those shoulders up. We're going to relax the shoulders down. Good. So I'm going to stand up just to come a bit closer to show you. You're going to squeeze the shoulders up. We're going to slide those shoulders down away from the ears and we're going to breathe in and we're going to breathe out. Slide those shoulders away from the ears. Breathe in. That's it. And then really relax those shoulders down. Now, this time we're going to see if we can draw the shoulders up to the ears and back down. So we're circling those shoulders. Nice and easy does it. Nice and easy does it. I'm going to use today as just an opportunity. We missed a week last week. And some of you may have missed the week before. So sometimes we feel a little bit stiff because we haven't done so much. Now we're going to relax the shoulders down. And then we're just going to take these feet and lift them one at a time. So it's like a little bit of a walk on the spot. I'll show you from this angle. Not lifting the knees too high because then you'll really notice it in the hips. Think of it in terms of just getting these leg muscles moving and getting that blood flow through the legs back up to the heart. So we're just improving and boosting that circulation. And that's really a good thing, just getting that circulation going. Now we're going to relax those legs and we're going to see if we can just pick the heels off the floor. So I'll show you from this angle. We're just going to pick the heels up and down. Good. And what we're going to do is go a little bit faster and we're going to slap these hands on the knees. So we're going to slap, slap, heels down. Good. Slap. It's all about the heels, but we're just trying to get these arms working too. Okay, bring those heels down. Now, what we're going to do next is we're going to make a fist and then we're going to really stretch out these fingers. So we're going to make a fist. So this is all about warming up the wrist. We're going to stretch out. Now, what I'm going to get you to do is make a fist here and just stretch out those arms. See if you can push into the palms all the way up to those fingers. Make a fist. And we're going to stretch out into those fingers. Make a fist. And we're going to stretch. This is really horrible if you've got long fingernails. And we're going to stretch it out. And then we're just going to relax those arms. Let them swing in that seated position. Good work. Okay, so we're just letting these arms swing, which is really nice because it just sort of lets the shoulders relax a little bit. Now bring these arms, we'll bring them back onto these thighs. We're going to see if we can take a little toe tap and come back. So we're going to tap that big toe down into the floor. Good. I'll show you from this angle. We're just tapping that big toe down into the floor. Good. Tapping that big toe, tapping that big toe. We're going to do 4 and 3 and 2 and 1. Now, what was this part of your body doing when we were doing that? Were you leaning back into the chair as the foot went forwards? What I'm going to try and get you to do now is do the heel and try not to lean forwards or backwards with this body. So see if you can hold that nice strong trunk. Good. We're just going to tap that heel into the floor. We're going to do 4 and 3 and 2 and 1. Now we're going to bring this foot in. We're going to take the heel and then the toe to the same spot on the carpet. Heel and toe. Good. Heel and toe. We're going to do 3 and 2 and 1. Good. Let's change legs. So it's a really nice little ankle mobilizer. Really nice little warm up for the ankles. We're really trying to find the same spot on the carpet to place the heel and then that big toe. Let's see if we can do a couple more and then bring it down. Good work. Okay, now let's take a little roll of those shoulders. Relax those shoulders down away from the ears. Now what I'm going to get you to do is walk these feet out just a little bit wider, sit nice and tall, and without lifting that sitting bone off the chair, we're going to lift that rib cage out of the hips. We're going to lengthen through the spine. So we're going to breathe out and we're going to breathe in. Good. We're going to breathe out. Good. You don't have to breathe out when I am. Sometimes I go into this breathing pattern, but as long as you're not holding your breath, that's the main thing. And what we're doing here, we're warming up that lower back. So if you get a stiff lower back, it's a really nice one to get moving in the morning. So maybe if you're sitting on the side of the bed, we can just take these little side bends. We're going to come all the way up, and then we're just going to walk those feet back to hip width apart. Now this time we're going to see, and I'll show you from this angle, if you can pick the toes up. So the heels are down, we're picking the toes up, and we're going to take that little pat with the hands on the thighs. We're going to pat. We're going to do 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Good. Should we try that again? Right. Bring the toes up. 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And you'll feel these muscles in the front of the leg really having to work hard. So really useful exercise. Now let's go back to that walk on the spot. And when I talk about the useful exercise, lifting the toes up, it's all about when we're walking, about making sure we don't sort of let those toes flap down and trip over things. So it's about being able to lift that foot and clear things on the floor like loose carpets and stuff like that. So we're just going to take this walk on the spot. If you can, let's take the arms into it as well. And you can see what I'm doing. I've got a 90-degree bend at the elbow rather than letting the arms do that like you would normally walking, so you don't hit anything that's around you, like the back of the chair, any bits and pieces that's around us. We're going to say 3, 2, 1. Okay, bring those feet down. Now, what we're going to do next is we're going to drop the chin down towards the chest. We're going to lift the head. We're going to look over that shoulder one way. We're going to come back to center. And again, drop that chin down to the chest. Really relax the shoulders. Lift that head up. Look over the shoulder that way. Come back to center. Now, again, just gently drop that chin to the chest. This time we're going to lift the head gently, gently does it, looking over the shoulder that way, keeping those shoulders as relaxed as you can. And again, I usually do this at the start, but you can tell I've had a little break over Christmas because I forgot. And then we're going to come back to center. Now, roll those shoulders. Let's do 3 shoulder rolls up to the ears, back and down. And then with those shoulders nice and relaxed, we're going to bring the hands underneath the rib cage. See if you can imagine that you're doing up a tight pair of trousers. So just draw that tummy button as if you're doing up the top button, and it is post-Christmas. And then we're going to take a little twist one way, come back to center. And then we're going to take a little twist the other way, come back to center. Good. Nice relaxed shoulders. And this is the sort of movement that's really useful for things like putting on your car seatbelt, rolling over in bed, just turning to get things when you're in the kitchen. And you only really notice the loss of movement when you can't do it, when you've injured yourself, or, you know, when suddenly that movement sort of disappears. And it's a really useful one. So we're going to keep that movement. And then we'll come back to center and we'll just let those arms swing again. Brilliant. How are we doing? We okay? I'm imagining you're going, yes, get on with it. So let's see now if we can bring one arm to shoulder level, and then we're just going to gently switch in midair. Now notice what happens with your tummy muscles. As one arm goes one way, the other arm goes the other way. Just your tummy muscles have to work to stop you sort of doing this. So draw that tummy button in slightly, and we're just going to push one arm forward, one arm backwards. We're going to do 4, 3, 2, and 1. And then we're going to bring these hands in again. Remember that exercise we did before where we're going to push those hands away from center? Good. A little bit faster this time. We're going to do 3 and 2 and 1. Good work. Okay, just relax these arms a little bit. What we're going to do is we're going to take one foot, I'm going to sit sideways on so you can see, one foot away from center. We're going to place the heel on the floor. We're going to draw that toe up to the ceiling. Now you'll get a little stretch in your calf muscle. Now keep that back nice and long. Just gently, gently bring that chest towards the straight leg and you'll get a stretch further up. That's it. Now just come back, bring that leg in. Let's take a little walk on the spot. Let's do the same on the other side. So I'm going to turn this way because I've got more light this way. Good. So first stage, calf. We're just drawing that toe up towards the knee. And then second stage, gently leaning forwards. We're almost lifting that chest over the thigh. Good. So you'll feel that little stretch at the back of the leg. And then we're going to come all the way up. We're going to take a little walk on the spot. Good stuff, guys. Now, relax these arms, relax the legs. What we're going to do now is walk one hand over the same shoulder. So same hand, same shoulder. We're going to walk that hand just as far as you feel comfortable. And then we're going to relax it down, staying seated. And then we'll do the same on the other side. We're going to walk that hand over the shoulder. We're not forcing it. And then we're going to bring it down. And then we're going to take that little roll of the shoulders. We're going to bring our hands around to the back of the chair. So I'll show you from this angle. We are sat in that working position, nice and tall. We're going to hold onto the back of that chair or just as close to if you can't get to the back of the chair. And we're going to look straight ahead and lift that chest. And then we're going to release and we're just going to let those arms go. So that little stretch is lovely, particularly if you get sore shoulders because the chest muscles get quite tight. So just let those arms go. And then we'll just do a little practice of some of the moves we're going to be doing when we're standing. So we've done a walk on the spot in our working position. Okay, so let's take that walk on the spot. We're going to just get the shoulders nice and relaxed. And if we're standing, if we don't feel balanced, we can hold onto the chair with two hands, with one hand, okay? Or we can hold on with both hands. Okay, now relax these feet. What we're going to do next is a little diagonal tap and in. So when we've got the chair in front of us, okay, we don't want to be bashing the chair leg. So we're going to tap on the outside of that chair. We're going to go 4 and 3 and 2. Keep that nice strong trunk if you can. Bring it in, lovely. And we're just going to take a little walk on the spot. Now we're going to take those feet a little bit wider, ready for that wide base sway. So we're nice and strong here. We're going to take our weight into our right sitting bone and then into our left. Do you know what? Left and right might be different on here. So I'm just going to say this sitting bone and this sitting bone. So notice where my head is. What I'm not doing is letting my head lead. We want the strong trunk. So it's very much internally just shifting your weight, not letting that head lead. Now you may feel comfortable taking the arms this way when you come into this sitting bone. Slowly does it into this sitting bone. Good. This one. Now when we're standing, okay, it's very much the same principle. Just be careful if you're with someone else that you're not moving at a different time because you will give them a black eye and then you'll blame me. Good. Let's take one more this way. Bring it down. Okay, and then we're going to walk it out. And we can, of course, do all this session seated. So if you prefer not to stand, stay in the chair and I'll give you a seated option all the way through. Now, let's do one last little thing, she says. I can't remember what it is. So yes. We're just going to take a little step forwards, push this foot into the floor, come back. We're stepping forwards. Now, this is the only time really that I get you to use your weight when you're seated, leaning forwards. When we're standing, we'll be using your leg. And we're actually making those legs work a little bit. We're going to do 2 more. Step forward, 1 more. And bring it in. And then one last thing, we're going to take a step this way, bring this foot across. We're going to step together. Good. Step together. Now, again, we can be holding on, or we can take one hand on, one hand off, or we can do 2 hands together. Okay, so if coordination isn't your friend, but you don't need to hold on, just do the legs anyway. Okay, bring it back, guys. How are we doing? I think we are ready to stand up. I did a really nice long warm up today, just so we get back into it a little bit more gently. Now, I'm going to turn my chair and we're going to stand up together. So what we're going to do is, from this working position, we're just going to make sure that those heels are behind the knees so that we can really use those legs. Now, if you need something in front of you to hold on to when you stand up, then I'm hoping you've arranged it, but you may need to think about how you set up your workspace in the future. Make sure there's something you can hold on to just in case, even if it's the wall. Now, what we're going to do on 3, we're going to stand up and then we're going to move those feet. And then we're going to take as many steps as you feel comfortable to the back of the chair. So I'll demo it for you first, and then we'll do it together, okay? So this is the demo. All right, once we're up, just to stop ourselves feeling dizzy, we need to move those feet to get that blood up to the head and the heart. Then when you feel ready, you choose the way you're going to go, and we're going to take as many steps as you feel comfortable. Come around to the back of the chair, we'll walk on the spot. So should we do that together? Let's do it together. So working position. All right, now if you need a little bit of help, you can just pop the hand at the front of the chair and push yourself forward if you need it. Otherwise, we're going to just press down on the knees or just use those put those hands where you feel comfortable. 3, 2, 1. We're going to drive into those heels, and then we're going to take that little bit of a walk on the spot. So we're just going to make sure we don't get dizzy when we stand up. And then we're just going to choose which way we move to the back of our chair, okay? And we're going to take as many steps as we feel comfortable till we get to the back of that chair. Once we're there, we're going to take a walk on the spot. Now, you can see the problem with me having the chair in front of me. Basically, you can't see my legs. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to show you from this angle, but I'm going to put the chair to one side, so it's there if we need it, and I'm going to pretend I've got an imaginary chair in front of me. So when I'm doing this, it basically means I'm pretending to hold onto the chair with both hands. Now, if you feel secure letting go with one hand, you can take that 90-degree bend at the elbow and walk on the spot. If you feel comfortable letting go with both hands, you can, but you know you've got that chair just in case you sort of feel unsteady. Now, let's steady those feet. First thing we're going to do, because we've been sitting and we've been walking on the spot, we're going to just take a little squeeze behind us, just to open up these hips a little bit, give these hip flexors a little bit of respite. So we've got that chair, and we're going to think about just a really nice, we're going to squeeze the bottom muscles, and we're just tapping behind us. Good. We're just taking a nice little tap behind us. Nice and steady does it. Just watch out that you're not arching your back and pushing this belly forwards. Draw that belly in so that if you do have any issues with that back, we're just using the bottom, squeezing. Good. We're just going to do 2 more, and then we're going to bring it in. Lovely. So we're going to see if we can do our little bit of aerobic section. So this is about getting the breath coming just a little bit faster. Okay, not out of control. So if you feel out of control, I want you to stop, just wiggle your toes, okay? Go back to something like this that maybe will just help you get your breath back. So we're going to start like we did earlier by walking on the spot. So you can hold on with both hands if you need to. Now we're going to pick one foot up at a time. And then we're going to imagine that we're walking through a field of sticky mud, and we're just going to pull those knees up a little bit further. So you might need to hold onto the chair, but watch you don't bang the chair with your knees. Good. We're just going to do 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Bring it down, and like we did in that seating position, we're going to take a little pedal. We're going to lift one heel at a time. Breathing in, breathing out. Good. Now we're going to see if we can take those diagonal taps. So we're going to start with this leg. We're going to tap out and back. Good. Out and back. Out and back. Out and back. So keep that nice strong trunk. Good. Now, if you feel comfortable letting go with one or both hands, we could add a bicep curl. Good. Out and back. So we're not leaning backwards or forwards. We're doing that. Or we're just holding onto that chair. We're going to do 4 and 3 and 2 and 1. Brilliant. And then we're going to go back to that little pedal. Whoo, have a little breath out. Good work, guys. Now, let's see if we can take that wide base sway position. So just try and avoid leaning over the chair, bottom in, and we want those knees a little bit soft. Heels are down before we start, and then we're just going to take the weight into one foot, weight into the other. So remember that head. If you find you're doing this and this, okay, it'll make you feel a bit dizzy, but what we want is these legs and the core doing the work. Good. So you can hold onto that chair and we're just transferring weight, one leg into the next. Now, if you're comfortable letting one arm go, you could take a one arm sway. If you're comfortable letting both arms go, we can take both arms. Just make sure we're all going the same way. This way and then this way. Good. This way and then this way. Good. We're going to do 5, 4, 3 and 2 and 1. Brilliant. Bring it down. Let's just take a few steps. So either holding onto that chair. Good work, everyone. Good work. Okay, one more little thing. And then we're just going to tone it down a little bit, ready for the dynamic balance. So we're going to take some side steps. You might want to hold on just to get started because we do slow it down a bit. We are going to step, bring this foot across, then we're going to come back, bring this foot across. Good. So we're going to step across. We're going to step across. Lovely. Step across and step across. Now, if you want to add the arms, good. Notice we're not banging those feet together because they might trip you up. Good. We're leaving a little gap. Good. So you can hold on or you can use the arms. We're going to do 6 and 5 and 4. Good. 3, 2 and 1. All right, brilliant work, guys. Just walk it out, walk it out. And then I'm going to get you to hold onto your chair. What we're going to do is just a little stretch to the calf muscles while we're in this position. So we're going to take a step behind us and we're going to press the heel of the back foot towards the floor. I'm going to show you from this angle and you'll feel a really nice stretch in your calf muscles. Okay, bring that foot back and then we'll do the same on the other side. So we're taking that step behind, you've got that chair in front of you, pressing the heel of that back foot down towards the floor. And then we're going to bring it up, bring it in, and just gently move those feet. Good. Okay, how are we? How are we doing? I'm hoping you're okay following this. Now remember, at any point you can sit down. So particularly the aerobic section, you can do everything, okay? Now the standing balance you can do as well in a sitting position, although it is more effective standing. Now, what we're going to do now is we're going to see if we can just take a step forwards and come back. We call this compensatory stepping. We're stepping, taking the whole weight into your foot. So it's not a tap. We're taking the weight into this front foot and then we're going to push back to that start position. So it's great to have the chair there because you can step into that chair. Good. Notice we're not sort of leaning over the chair. If you can avoid it, take the weight into that leg rather than using the upper body to support you. Good. So I'd rather us do just a couple less than do quite a lot where we're taking the weight into that upper body. You'll know what I mean if you can feel the tension in your arms and you're pushing on that chair. Good. Okay, bring it back in. We're just going to move those feet a little bit. And then we're going to think about those side steps again. Now, you might need your chair because we're going to slow it down a little bit more. We're just going to see if we can step this way. But I want you to imagine you're just stepping over just something that someone's dropped on the floor, okay? You've got to step over it. So sometimes if you're in the garden, there's a little stone or a rock, you're just going to step over that rock. Good. So this is why I want you to have your chair. We're lifting that foot a little bit, stepping over. Good. We're going to lift and lift that foot. Brilliant. So we are transferring the weight into this leg, into both. Good. Stepping. So this is a really useful exercise. Let's do 2 more side steps. Good. 1 more. Lovely. And then we'll bring it back. Good. So that was pretty challenging in terms of balance when you do it slowly. Now, let's see if we can go back to something that's not quite so challenging, but we're going to bring in a bit of calf strength as well. So we're going to lift the heels up, and then we're going to slowly lower those heels down. So basically coming onto tiptoe. We're going to lift those heels up, slowly back down. Good. So what we're doing, we are challenging the balance because you're going from your whole foot to a smaller area, but we're also making the calf muscles work really hard. Good. Okay, let's see if we can do 3 more, shall we? Now, see if you can challenge your balance a little bit. If you can, keep that chest lifted. Try not to lean over that chair if you can. All right, see if you can just use it as a balance aid rather than something to push off. So we're going to do 1 more. We're going to bring it all the way back down. And then we're just going to move those feet a little bit. Brilliant. That's great. So we've already done 3 balance exercises and they're all bringing a little bit of strength in. What we're going to try next is a balance on 1 leg. So why would we do that? Because when we're walking, we're always on 1 leg. So if we're going to walk confidently, okay, we need to be confident on 1 leg. So let's see if we can hold onto our chair, lift our chest. We're going to look at a fixed point in the distance. So if I put you off, don't look at me, because all we're going to do is we're going to take 1 foot, holding on with 2 hands, 1 foot off the floor. Now we're going to hold on. If you feel confident and safe, you can take 1 hand away. If you start wobbling, what I want you to do is bring it back, okay? If you manage it without wobbling, we're then going to just take thumb, little finger, next finger, until you've got the index finger. And if you're wobbling, then leave that finger there, maybe take another one. If not, only then do you take that hand away. Both hands on, foot down, move your feet. Good, that was quite a long hold then, so well done. So you can see it's a very gradual process of moving the hand. Should we try it on the other leg? Should we try it on the other leg? What you might find easier is if you just soften that knee just a touch so it's not locked, you might find you easier to sink that weight on the supporting leg down. So we're going to bring that foot off the floor. Okay, imagine I put a little plate of some delicacies on top of your head and they're round and they're going to roll up. Maltesers. And we don't want to spill any of the Maltesers, so you're keeping as still as possible. Good. 3, 2, 1. Bring it down. Okay, take that little pedal, my friends. Excellent. Good work. All right. Shall we try just a little challenge, which is quite a nice one. We're going to see if we can have the chair in front of us. Then we're going to take a step to one side. So you can still hold on, but this outside leg could swing free. Now this is called a pendulum swing. So we're going to stand on one leg. We're going to hold on. Now nice and tall. Now what we're going to do is bend this knee a little bit, and we're just going to let that knee swing forwards and backwards. So it's like a pendulum. Now notice what you might want to do is that, okay? But we're going to keep this strong trunk. Okay, so let's try it, shall we? We're on one side of that chair. We're going to stand nice and tall. We're going to lift this foot off the floor, and then we're just going to brush the carpet or the floor with the bottom of that foot. We're going to do 3 and 2 and 1. Bring it down. Okay, come back behind that chair. And then what we're going to do is shuffle to the other side of the chair. We're going to do the same again, okay? So we're going to pick that foot off the floor, and we're just going to let that little pendulum go, keeping that strong trunk. 3, 2, 1. Okay, bring it back. Come back behind that chair. Superb, superb. So, time is ticking on. So we're going to sit down in a minute. We're going to just do a little bit of leg strength before we do. So we're going to come back to the front of our chair. Now remember, if at any point this gets too much, just sit down, have a little rest, walk it out. But what we're going to do is come to the front of this chair, and we're going to feel for that chair on the back of the legs. Now, if you're worried about your chair pushing backwards, you might need to have some support behind it like a wall. Or you might need to just hold onto the back of the chair and do some little mini squats. Because we're going to see if we can do some sit to stands. So we're going to feel for that chair on the back of your legs. Now I'm going to turn my chair so you can see. All right. Now all we're going to do is feel for the chair on the back of the legs as if you were about to sit down. I want those heels on the floor. Then we're going to stand up. Okay. So it's a stand to sit really rather than a sit to stand. Now, if you prefer to push those hands forwards, just to balance out, you can. All right. We're just going to see if we can come down and push up. Good. Now, can we do another 8? If you can only do one more, just do one. Sit down, wait for us to finish. But we're going to see. Good. And it's up to you how far you go. Okay, so if you can tap and up, great. If you just want to go a small distance, that's fine. Good. So you can do this. Okay, that's wonderful, guys. Or we can just imagine we were going to sit down, come back up. Good. We're just going to do 2 more. And we're going to do 1 more. Bring it all the way up. Just move those feet. Lovely. Move those feet. Now we're going to sit down for real. So feel for that chair on the back of the legs and just lower yourself down with control. Have a little rest. Good stuff. So things like those sit to stands, it's all about maintaining the strength in the thighs and the bottom. And sometimes we think, oh, my knees don't like it. But the stronger the muscles are here, the better able they are to support the joints of the knees. So have a little think about it if that makes sense. Good. Now, let's see. Have you got your resistance band? If not, don't worry. Okay, because we can use tins or we can use no resistance. If you've had a little rest, maybe a little bit of water, okay, we'll come out of our rest position, come into our working position. So we're just going to sit up nice and tall, lift one sitting bone at a time, come into that front part of the chair, that working position. So we're using these core muscles. Now, we're going to start with a little bit of upper body strength. Give these legs a little bit of a rest. So if you've got your resistance band, what we're going to do is we're going to take those hands underneath it, okay? Palms are facing up, shoulders relaxed. Now you can see my hands just slightly less than shoulder width apart. All we're going to do is, with those forearms, with those elbows at a 90-degree angle, we're just going to just open up that band a little bit and relax. So what we're actually doing is getting the backs of the shoulders working. We're just going to open and relax. We're going to do 8 of these, okay? We're going to open and relax. Now, if you haven't got a band, I'm going to get you to do exactly the same, but you're just going to open a little bit wider. So those elbows are in, as if, we used to call this the waiter, okay? Elbows in, and you've got your trays, and you're just taking the trays either way. Good. When we've done our 8, okay, we're going to relax, and we're going to roll those shoulders. Good. Now, next phase of world domination, we're going to take this band around you. So sitting nice and tall, and we're going to see if we can take some work for the shoulders, the triceps, and the chest. It's like a press up with a band. So we're just going to push that band away from center and then slowly control it in. Now, the further your hands are from the middle of the band, the easier it's going to be, the least resistance. The closer the hands are to the middle, the more resistance. So we're going to see if we can do 10. Now, those of you without a band, you've got an option. You can either do this with your tins, pushing away and back, or you can find some wall, place your hands on the wall, and you can do a wall press. Okay, so this is a really useful exercise. It's like a press up against the wall. Let's see if we can do 10. So I'm going to get into my working position. Okay, sit nice and tall, and some of you will have done 10 already. Second set of 10. So we're going to push away and control it back in. Try not to take those shoulders up. So we're going to breathe out and slowly back, okay? So that slow back in is really important to build strength. Good. And we're not going to hold our breath. We're going to breathe out and we're going to breathe in. Good. We're going to breathe out and we're going to breathe in. Good work. Let's see if we can breathe out and breathe in. I think we've got 2 more. I'm the worst counter in the world. Looking straight ahead. I keep looking at you, which is really bad for my neck. So I'm going to stop doing it. It's bad to show you that. And then when I want to look at you, I'll turn my chair. So that was all about these muscles of the upper body. So what we're going to do next is roll those shoulders, bring our band back. Now we're going to work the upper back muscles. So these muscles here in the back of the shoulders. So I'm going to show you what it looks like with the band. We're going to draw those hands apart, keep the elbows close, squeeze those shoulder blades together, draw those elbows behind you. I'm going to show you what it looks like with your tins. So with those tins in the palm of the hand, we're just going to squeeze those elbows behind you. So it's up to you what you do, or we can just do it without resistance. Again, should we aim for 10? So nice and tall, relax those shoulders. We're going to draw that band so it's shoulder width apart, then keeping those elbows nice and close to the body, squeeze and release. So let's not forget to breathe out. Breathe in, breathing out, breathing in. I tend to breathe out on the hardest part of the move, but it's up to you. Okay, now we're aiming for 10. Yet again, I've lost count, but I think we got 3 more. But I'm counting on you to help me, my friends. And this is where we miss the lovely Joan, who used to count me in. Beware me if I put an extra one in. Breathe out. And then we're going to release. And we're going to roll those shoulders. So release any tension that's built. Now, let's just do 1 more leg strength exercise. And then I'm going to finish there today. We've done 4 strength exercises then. And I think just getting back into it in the new year, we don't want to overdo it. So we're going to take either end of the band and we're going to put the foot into the band. I prefer the sort of front part of the foot, but wherever you feel secure. Now we're going to walk the hands down this band, sit up nice and tall, lift that foot off the floor. So I'm going to show you from this angle. So with that foot in the band, we're going to walk the hands down, sit up nice and tall so there's some resistance. We're going to lift that foot and then secure the hands at the top of the thigh. Now, all we're going to do is straighten the leg. We're going to push that leg away from center. Now, when you bend it again, make sure the knee bends in line with that second toe. Sit nice and tall, push against the resistance, control that resistance back. I'm going to show you from this angle. Push against that resistance, control that resistance back. We are going to push. Now, we can do this without the band, and I shall show you when we've done our set of 10 here. So that's 5, guys. We're going to do 5 more. Brilliant. 5 and 4. Good. And 3. Good. Straightening that leg without locking out that knee. So don't click that knee into place. Last one. And release. Bring it down. Okay, let's just move those feet a little bit. Oh, get rid of some of that sort of tension that's built in the thighs. And while you're having a little rest, I'm just going to show you what you can do if you haven't got the band. So if you haven't got the band, we are going to sit back in the chair, keep that long trunk. We're going to just let the heels rest on the floor in front of you. Now, what we're going to do is just lift and straighten that leg and back down, and you can feel the thigh muscles. This is a great exercise to support the knees. Good. And once you get stronger at doing this, you can actually strap ankle weights on to do this. All right, so if you're doing the non-resistance band exercise, 10 on each leg, if we're with the resistance band, let's take the other foot into the band. So whole foot into the band. Sitting nice and tall. I'm not sure where that came from. And walking those hands down, so we've got a bit of resistance there. Let's secure the hands at the top of the thigh, and that just means we're not taking it in the arms. And then we're just going to stretch out, straighten out that leg, and making sure that knee bends over that second toe, so we're not making the knee work out of line. Good. Really pushing against the resistance of that band. Lovely, guys. Really working. That's excellent. So here, it's a little bit like the sit to stand movements. We are working the thighs, the glutes, okay? That's the muscles in your bottom. And they really, once they're strong, this is the sort of exercise that's going to help you get up and down steps, in and out of cars, up and down hills, and it's going to help protect the knee joint. Life feels easier when these muscles are stronger. Good. Let's do one more of these. Hold it there and then release. Good work. All right. Just move those feet for me a little bit. Take a little walk on the spot. Great. And we'll just roll those shoulders up and back. Ooh, we are almost done, but no session would be complete without stretching out the muscles we've worked. And sometimes it's the bit that most of us skip, if I'm honest. I did do it today. That's because my muscles were hurting. So I tend to be a bit of a cheat when I'm doing my own maybe session, because I know I'll be stretching in these sessions. So I do it with you, which is why I'm so inflexible. I need to do more of it. Now, first thing we're going to do, we're going to stretch out the back of the arm and the shoulders. So don't worry if you can't go too far with it. You can sit nice and tall. If you prefer to stand, you can stand. We're going to walk one hand over the shoulder. Okay, now we did this in the warm-up. What we didn't do is add a bit of support. So with this hand on this part between the elbow and the shoulder, we're just going to gently press that elbow towards the ceiling. And notice what we're doing here. We're not sort of doing this or doing this. We're trying to look straight ahead. And if this is your limit, that's fine. Just find that stretch point. Hold it there, breathe out. Now, only if you can, we're going to see then if we can reach up. So I'll sit back down for that bit. We're going to reach up, hold onto the side of the chair with the other hand, draw that tummy button in, lift that rib cage away from the hips, breathe out and in and down, and then we'll roll those shoulders up and back. Should we do the same on the other side? Okay, so walk that hand only as far as your point of tension. Okay, don't feel upset if you can't, because sometimes we've had injuries to the shoulder that just limits our range, and we just need to work with what we've got rather than forcing it. The body likes to be assisted rather than forced. Now we're going to reach up. We're just going to draw that tummy button in and then just lift that rib cage. We're not going too far, but we're getting that nice little stretch of the trunk and the upper back. Good. Okay, let's take a little roll of those shoulders. Now, let's take those little toe taps forward, shall we? Just tapping that big toe down towards the floor. You can go slower, you can go faster, and then we'll just tap out. Good, and out. Brilliant. That's it. Not too fast. When I said slower or faster, really, we're just trying to bring everything back down. Okay, now once we're here, we're going to take that foot out in front. So I'm going to turn my chair so you can see where we're going with this one. We're going to stretch out the backs of these legs. So in that working position, if you're too far back, sometimes the chair will cut into the back of that leg. So we're going to draw that toe up to the ceiling, and then with those hips square on, we're just bringing that chest towards that straight leg. And I find that breathing out with this really helps. Okay, so we're just going to hold it there. You might find you can go a little bit further once you've relaxed into that first phase. And then we're going to come all the way back up. Lovely. Okay. And then we'll do the same on the other side. So if we sit a lot, or if we don't sit a lot, these muscles do get tight in the back of the leg. And it's sort of one of them in particular crosses the pelvis, and it can give us quite a sore back if they're tight. It can pull the pelvis out of line. So I like to do us a really good stretch at the end. Good. Okay, you can go a little bit further if you like. Keep that back as straight as you can. And then we're going to come all the way up. And then we just move those feet a little bit. Now, do you remember the exercise where we were holding onto the back of the chair? That's what we're going to do next. So I'm going to take my feet a little bit wider, so I'm nice and balanced. So I'm going to sit nice and tall. I'm going to bring my hands to the back of the chair. And then I want you to imagine that you're just holding a tennis ball between your chin and your chest. So we're not poking that chin forwards, and we're just opening up that chest, breathing out. And then we're going to release. Let's just let those arms swing, shall we? Let those arms swing. Excellent. Excellent work. So we're going to finish up just with some more for the neck and the shoulders. I'm going to take one hand onto the opposite shoulder this time. And I'm just going to gently, gently draw that arm across the body. Good. Really nice. And then we're going to release. We're going to do the same on the other side. So we're going to take that hand onto the opposite shoulder. Once you've got it there, or it could be here, we're just going to hug that arm in, and you'll feel that little stretch in the back of the shoulder. Feels really nice. And we're going to release. And then we're going to relax those hands onto the thighs. We're going to look towards the shoulder. And then we're going to just take this hand, place it on that head, but gently does it. Just see if you can draw that head so we're looking towards the hip. Nice and gentle, release and relax. Now, if you're not comfortable with these, don't worry about it. Just relax back in that chair. So we're just looking towards this shoulder. We're going to take this hand, gently, gently draw that head so we're looking towards the hip. Nice and easy does it. And we're going to release. And then we're going to walk those sitting bones one at a time back into that chair, and you can sit back Relax. Fantastic. We've done some really valuable work there. And because sometimes we're sort of concentrating, we don't realize it, but lots of muscle groups, lots of balance work. So well done. The key is very much about this sort of trunk and letting it stabilize you, if that makes sense. And so when you're doing your day-to-day activities, have a think about how you do them. Do you tend to lean on stuff when you're maybe doing stuff in the sink? Start to think about, sitting tall, standing tall, and I promise you, these will start to respond. Okay, I'll stop going on, shall I? Oh, we're going to finish with a nice bit of breathing. So this is from the Tai Chi Movement for Wellbeing class. What we're going to do is we're actually just going to scoop up and we're going to bring down. So imagine that you've just created lots of positive energy and you're going to draw it towards you and you're going to push it down into that belly. And now you don't have to imagine, because I know you have. We've done some really great work. So we're going to think about all the amazing things you've done. And we're going to draw in some of that positive energy and we're going to hold on to it so that whenever you might need it, you can use it later on. Okay, I suspect we might be needing a bit of it. I'm going to take a breath in and breath out. So seated or standing, it's a really nice movement. It's called return to center. You're breathing in, feeling your feet on the floor, sitting bones on the chair and out. And if you do find some of this current situation again has just stirred up some uncomfortable feelings, it's worth taking a minute just to do, say, 8 or 10 of them, really breathing out and see how you feel when you finish. Anyway, enough. I'm so excited to see you. I'm just giving you loads of information. I hope you enjoyed today's session. I very much look forward to next week's session. And again, what we'll try and do is gradually build. Don't worry if you feel the need to sit down for some of it or, you can't stand for all of it. It's fine. It's about doing what you're comfortable with and building and gradually progressing. So you've got my email. If you do need to get in touch, it's sarah.tag@ceredigion.gov.uk. If you want any questions or anything you need to know, just be my guest. Otherwise, I shall see you next week. Well done. Hwyl fawr.